All right, let's jump straight into it. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're unpacking a story from the Mahabharata that absolutely has it all. We are talking deep royal secrets, intense burning jealousy, and a devastating magical curse that literally changes everything. This isn't just some dusty ancient text, you guys. It is a total masterclass in human drama and the very strict consequences of ancient laws. So, we're actually skipping the agenda today because I want to start with a massive question that perfectly sets the stage for what I can only describe as a mythological soap opera. What exactly happens when a king's hidden secret completely wrecks a royal marriage? Well, as we'll see, when the truth finally comes out, the fallout isn't just your standard tough conversation. It is a full-blown supernatural disaster. That brings us right to Section 1, The Secret Royal Children. Our story kicks off with this terribly fragile piece, and it's built entirely on a desperate, high-stakes lie between two royal women living in the exact same orbit, Devayani and Sarmishtha. To really understand this conflict, we have to look at the deception that started the whole thing. Devayani is this powerful woman with a famously sweet disposition. The text actually calls her a woman of sweet smiles. Well, she hears that her rival, Sarmishtha, have had a child, and she immediately gets suspicious, questioning if Sarmishtha had yielded to lust. But Sarmishtha expertly pacifies her. She comes up with this incredible cover story, claiming her child wasn't born of sin at all, but was actually granted by a powerful, virtuous sage, a resplendent Rishi, whose energy was like the sun. And Devayani basically says, okay, well, if it was a superior Brahmana, I have no cause for anger. They literally laugh it off and go their separate ways. But the sheer math of this betrayal is exactly what makes it a ticking time bomb. Over time, Devayani has two sons with her husband, King Yayati, Yadu and Turvasu. But Sarmishtha, she ends up having three sons, Drahu, Anu, and Puru. And the dark secret festering in the background here is that the resplendent Rishi never actually existed. King Yayati had secretly given his wife's rival three sons, totally outnumbering Devayani's own children. And you know how fast a secret can unravel, right? Watch how quickly this builds into an undeniable disaster during what was supposed to be just a simple, relaxing walk in the woods. Around noon, Devayani and King Yayati are out in the king's massive park when she spots three children of stunning celestial beauty playing nearby. She marvels at them and just innocently asks the kids who their father is. Well, the children, perfectly trusting, point their little forefingers right at King Yayati and name Sarmishtha as their mother. They run up to clasp the king's knees, but the king is so terrified of Devayani's wrath that he completely ignores them. The weeping kids run back to their mother, and in that split second, Devayani puts all the pieces together. The secret is completely out. Devayani instantly confronts Sarmishtha, demanding to know how she dared to do her such an injury. But Sarmishtha, she does not back down for a second. Notice this wild defense. She proudly justifies her actions by citing an ancient Asura custom, telling Devayani, "Oh, beautiful one, a friend's husband is, according to usage, one's own husband as well." She's essentially claiming she acted righteously because when Devayani chose the king, Sarmishtha automatically chose him too. Moving on to Section 2, Devayani learns the truth. The immediate fallout here transforms our characters in the blink of an eye. Like I mentioned earlier, the text makes a huge point to repeatedly call Devayani a woman of sweet smiles. But the exact moment she realizes she's been betrayed by both her dependent and her husband, those sweet smiles vanish and she transforms into a woman with eyes red with anger. Completely humiliated, she declares that virtue has been vanquished by vice. And without saying a single word to her panicked husband, she speeds off in tears directly to her father, the incredibly powerful Brahmana, Sukra. Which brings us to the climax in Section 3, the devastating Brahmana curse. This is where the divine punishment gets swift and terrible. Devayani stands before her father, weeping, explaining that the king, who is supposed to be renowned for his religion, has completely deviated from the path of rectitude. Hearing his daughter's tearful plea, Sukra does not hesitate. He unleashes a terrifying, inescapable punishment upon King Yayati, who had foolishly followed right behind his wife. Sukra thunders, "Since thou hast made vice thy beloved pursuit, invincible decrepitude shall paralyze thee." And just like that, instantly, the king's youth is ripped away. Now this is where it gets crazy. Yayati has just been cursed to be paralyzed by old age. You'd think he'd throw himself on the ground and beg for forgiveness, right? Nope. He actually attempts to logically justify his infidelity to his furiously powerful father-in-law. He claims he did it as a strict moral obligation, stating, "I did it from a sense of virtue and not from other motives." Okay, we need a quick timeout here for modern audiences just to understand exactly what Yayati is trying to argue. According to his interpretation of the Vedas, if a woman full of desire secretly solicits a man while she is in her season and the man refuses her, he commits a grave sin. He becomes what's known as a slayer of the embryo. So Yayati is literally trying to tell his father-in-law that rejecting Sarmishtha would have been a massive sin. He actually believed cheating on his wife was the lesser of two evils, claiming he was just anxious to avoid sinning. Yeah, well, Sukra is having absolutely none of that. He completely shuts down this ancient legal loophole. He points out a glaring flaw in the king's logic. Yayati is dependent on Sukra. Therefore, Yayati should have awaited his command before doing anything of the sort. By acting falsely and in secret, Sukra declares Yayati is guilty of the sin of theft. So that argument falls completely flat. And that leads us to our final act, Section 4, the loophole for youth. Stripped of his youth and paralyzed by this sudden, crushing old age, Yayati realizes he cannot win this debate. He is completely overcome. He begs for mercy, crying out that he hasn't been satiated with his youth or with Devayani yet. And this desperate plea leads to a strange, highly specific compromise, which brilliantly illustrates the strict contractual nature of boons and curses in these ancient texts. Sukra states plainly, "I never speak an untruth. The curse has been spoken, it literally cannot be taken back. The old age is there to stay." But he does offer Yayati a highly conditional escape clause. Yayati is permitted to transfer his decrepitude to someone else, but only if he can find a son willing to take on his old age and give up their own youth. To sweeten the deal, Sukra promises that the son who makes this massive sacrifice will instantly become the successor to the throne, guaranteed a long life, wide fame, and a massive legacy. This ancient legal settlement leaves us with an incredibly tense cliffhanger for today's explainer. Remember, Yayati has 5 sons in total, 2 from the furious, betrayed Devayani, and 3 from the cunning, secretive Sarmishtha. So which of his 5 sons, born of 2 bitter royal rivals, will actually step up? Who is going to sacrifice the absolute best years of their life, taking on the paralysis of old age just to save their father? And what is the ultimate cost of that royal ambition going to be? It's a question that challenges the very bounds of familial duty. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this incredible text. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.